energetically, when you need something, you're attached to it. And when you are attached to something, you're gripping it tightly. You're holding on to it for dear life. And when you're holding on to something for dear life and you need it so much, you grip it too tightly. And then what happens when we grip too tightly? It goes away. It leaves us. It doesn't stay. And you'll slip through your fingers. It'll be gone. And you'll literally suffocate it. So what we want to do, and I love this language, is we want to touch it lightly. So to touch something lightly, it's that softness, it's that flow state, it's that go with the flow, the I want you, I don't need you energy. It is light. It's not a gripping, right? The other language I really like to use too is to make sure that what you want is a preference, not a requirement. So when something is a requirement, you need it. You need it to be worthy. You need it to be good enough. You need it to be liked. You need it to be happy. And so when you need something to be happy, you're not a vibrational match to the thing that you need. Because when you have it, you're not in the vibration of needing it. Remember, we want to be the energetic match. So to want something then is like, oh, I would love that. That would be fun. That would be great. But if I never get it, I'm still amazing. I'm still incredible. Life is still good and I'm still happy. Like that's the energy that we want to be in.
Kathleen Cameron, welcome to Passion, Love, Pursuit podcast. As I was saying to you, I'm just so excited to have this conversation. I feel like it's something I need. And I know anybody that's listening to this right now is exactly what they're wanting and desiring in their life right now, to hear more of how could I bring more into my life that I desire? Like I'm tired. I'm like ready for more, but what gives? Like, why isn't it coming? And how do I manifest more into my life? And I know you have the tools and wisdom to bring that to us today. So I'm so excited to have you on. Thank you for being here.
Oh, I'm so excited. This is my passion. So, the name is actually in your podcast, which I love, but this is my passion and I live manifestation. It is my life in every way. So I love to talk about it, whether I'm at the airport, at the mall, I'm talking to people about it. It's everywhere. So the more I get to talk, the happier I am. So let's do it.
I love it. Okay. I think it's important before we talk about how to manifest everything we want, we got to understand what's really blocking us from manifestation. And so what do you think is the biggest block to all that we desire, whether it be personal freedom, happiness, abundance, love, wealth, you name it?
Yeah. It's so interesting because I really don't like to talk about things in a negative capacity and form. So even when we say what's blocking us, immediately the mind thinks about blocks and then we look for blocks, and whatever the mind focuses on and it sees, it actually makes it real. Like leaning upon the wall makes the wall very, very real. So for me, whenever I get asked questions like that, my mind immediately goes to, okay, what is the positive side of that question? And how can we talk about it in a way that opens up potentiality instead of closes it? So I hear blocks, but what I'm actually hearing is opportunity and possibility and receivership and openness. So I then think in my head, okay, so how can I answer this question? I'm going to answer the question of how can I be more open to receive instead of remove blocks. So that's in and itself is a very, very important way of looking at life, which then removes blocks. Because whatever we believe to be true will be our truth. So if you believe you are blocked in some capacity, things are not working, there's a problem needing fixing, you are actually creating from that problem state, from the block state, and keeping the block alive. So I always say to people, you are not blocked. You are fully open to receive. All potentiality is there for you. Anything that you desire is there. We must vibrationally match the experience of having it. And that experience of having it has no blocks. So let's remove that from the mind. So to answer the question, no. What we have conditioned and patterned and programmed in the subconscious mind is the very thing that is manifesting our life. So if you are manifesting a life where you don't have what you want, you are unconsciously manifesting an experience that you don't desire. And so you're likely remaining in a displeasured state, which manifests more displeasure. So I always tell people the best thing to do is to fall in love with your life today. Fall in love with the experience that you have in this moment. Know that everything you need is here. Everything you ever wanted is your experience. And to look upon your life with the lens of beauty, with the lens of love, with the lens of passion and possibility, and to see the good in everything, because what we see, we then create more of. So I want to vibrationally match the wish fulfilled or the manifested life that I want. And so I must be that first. So if I'm looking upon my life in any displeasure or disdain, um, it's not going to manifest what I want. So that is the biggest thing, is to start off with understanding how you currently see your life, and then to become aware of the limitations in your thoughts. So your belief systems, the things that you're thinking every day, the words that are coming out of your mouth, the way you see the world and the way that you see life and yourself, your identity, huge. And then the action that you do or do not take, because you automatically take action based on who you think you are. So if you don't think you're good enough, you're not going to take good enough action. So if you want all the best the world has to offer, you must offer the world your best. One of my favorite Neil Donald Walsh quotes. And so that is how manifestation works in a nutshell. But I just condensed it into like 3 minutes.
Yeah. I love that you reframed that. I love that you changed the language, because that is such a beautiful example of, like you said, the process of having a different perspective of how you're seeing the world. So if you're seeing the world, as you said, with these blocks or limitations, we'll just see more of them in everything we do. So I love that you said that. And it was so beautifully said and explained. And I've talked about manifestation on my podcast, and we'll talk about the blocks, because we know there's things per se blocking us, but you had that beautiful reframe that actually gives you a whole nother look into how to see your life, as you said, in the beauty that exists already in it. So I love that. Okay. So we're going to unpack all that goodness, because there was so much said in what you spoke about. So, but I think it's important to know how you got to this. You are one of the world's top manifestation mentors, and just reading your bio and learning more about you, I'm in awe. I'm so inspired by you, and I know so many people are, but I want to know how you got there, because I know there's been a journey, and this wasn't always the case. So
Yeah, I'm in a really beautiful point in my life. I'm 5 years into this journey. I started my business 5 years ago, teaching manifestation. And I look upon my life now sometimes and I'm like, wow, like, how did I get here? I am living a life that brings me so much joy and passion and freedom, time and financial freedom, and the ability to be where I want to be whenever I want to be there. And I think that to me is true freedom, to not have to spend a day of my life doing something I don't want to do. But 5 years ago, it was completely different. 5 years ago, I was living a life that the majority of the people that listen to my podcast probably are living. I was a registered nurse for over 12 years, 2 daughters, 2 beautiful daughters. They're my pride and joy. And I was making, $96,000 a year, which at the time I thought was, pretty good, significantly more than a lot of my friends were making. And I was starting a side business, and I was getting another master's degree, and I was working really, really hard, feeling very stressed and overwhelmed, and feeling like life was just like, what is this for? Like, what are we doing this for? And I often refer to it, honestly, Erica, as Groundhog Day, because I felt like wake up every single morning, do the morning routine, get the kids off to bus, go to work, commute, work all day, come home, make dinner, bed, bath, answer emails, go to bed. And then every Sunday night would be the cycle of like laying in bed at night, worrying about the week and worrying, like the Sunday blues, like this is my last day before the whole cycle like starts again. And being a nurse was very rewarding, but there was no joy. There was nothing in my profession at the time that brought me joy. And so when I started studying this material and I had just quit my nursing career, I started to bring more joy into my life. And I was like, well, this is really interesting. The more that I try to find joy, the more I bring joy in, it feels almost like joy is just finding me everywhere. And then things like money would find me, and more followers on my platforms would find me, and more students from my academy would find me. and opportunities, and all of these things just started to come to me very easily and very effortlessly. But it was when I started to change the way I saw myself and the way I saw life, specifically my identity. Like I was a completely different woman back then. I didn't love myself at all. I was actually like my worst enemy. I will be
Mm.
totally truthful and honest about that. And falling in love with myself led me to this beautiful life, this beautiful life I live. Yeah.
Oh, I love it so much. And I think one of the big things that you talk about that I love, that I think is great to bring out at the top of the episode is identity, because it is truly the strongest force. And we will always remain consistent with the way we see ourselves and the
Absolutely.
stories we tell ourselves. And it's such a strong force. I know that I talk about it a lot because, for example, even if you want to lose weight and let's say you're overweight and you feel unhealthy and you've been that way for a while and you just feel like, oh, I can't lose weight. If you keep on seeing yourself as this overweight person and somebody that's unhealthy, how could you become the version that you wish to be, which is a fit, thinner version? And it's really shifting that identity, and that's what makes it sustainable. And so I would love for you to talk deeper into identity, because how do we go from this version that we are right now that we're not happy with to then shifting into identity that serves us and it brings in more of what we desire?
Yeah. This is a beautiful example. And then you just talked about the weight release thing too, which is really beautiful. Because for much of my life, my self-worth and my identity or self-concept was tied to the way I looked. And so as a plus-size woman that grew up in Canada, I heard the message from the outside world, and the message is not necessarily a true message. It's just a message that said thinness is ideal. Being plus size, overweight, fat is wrong and bad, and you should change it. You should go on a diet. Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers. I mean, you could go on Dr. Bernstein. Like, you could go on and on and on and on and on. The weight loss industry is one of the biggest industries in the world. And notice how I'm not saying health industry. I'm saying weight loss industry. It's two totally different things. But so for me, my focus was for 30 years, I started trying to get skinny at 7 years old. And I did that until 37. And so for 30 years, I tried to fix a problem. I tried to mend a broken part of me. You're fat, you're lazy, you have to fix this. So you have to go to the gym, you have to eat healthy foods that you don't even like. You have to discipline yourself, almost punish yourself. Exercise for me became punishment. I'm
Right.
bad, I'm wrong, and I'm going to exercise because I've screwed up in some way. And so I have to go to the gym. I have to go to the gym to fix this problem. So I say all that because these were all identities. They were beliefs in the subconscious mind. And I have this question that I ask myself all the time now when I'm examining my beliefs for whether or not they're actually true is I say, okay, according to who?
Hmm.
So being fat is bad. Being plus size is wrong. It's, being in a bigger body is a bad thing. It's frowned upon. It's looked upon in a bad way. Okay. Then I go, okay, according to who? Like, who says that it's bad and who says that it's wrong? And those that have been patterned and programmed to believe that size of body is any indication of health status, would say, well, it's unhealthy. But you've been conditioned to believe that. It's actually not. There's no evidence to suggest that the size of your body and your health status are in correlation in any way. You can be very, very thin and in a lighter body and be way, way unhealthier than someone in a larger size body. Anyways, I'm getting up onto my soapbox now. But it was examining the belief of, well, according to who? Who said it's wrong? Who said it's bad? Who said that I need to shrink my body size? And in examining that, I realized, wow, I fell for it. I fell for beauty standards. I fell for this lie, and I changed my mind. And so at 37 years old, at 300 pounds, I said, I'm beautiful. I'm gorgeous. I'm not a problem. I'm healthy. I don't need to fix nothing. My size is my superpower. And I let go of all the shame and the guilt. And then I made $1 million in 7 months, 3 million that year. No coincidence,
Right.
because I dropped the weight of the expectations and the shame and the guilt and all that energy that kept the receivership to be able to come to me. And so now I've even shifted my identity even further, to the point now where I'm health. I have not engaged in any desire to release any weight. And I just went over to, I'm a healthy woman. And what does a healthy woman do? She does these things. And I reprogrammed myself to love exercise. And I reprogrammed myself to love lean protein and vegetables and like to fuel my body. I educated myself what's the best way to treat my body to live a long life. And so I've been doing this for 3 years now. And yes, I've released 130 pounds.
Wow.
But
Amazing.
not because I'm a problem, not because I'm broken, not because of this and that, because I decided to just believe I was healthy.
I love that. I love that you explain that and walk it out as far as we're talking about like the identity of the body you live in. And because we could never fully love something that we have any part that we're hating, you know, I mean, it's like, I forgot that saying. I always forget this and I chop it up. But anyways, we can't, if we're hating any part of us, how could we, or shaming any part of us, how could we ever fully love ourselves, you know? And so, you know, as far as the beliefs we have around our identity, I want to know what would you recommend for shifting those beliefs? Like, I feel like to have a new identity, somewhat our old identity needs to die.
Absolutely. The first step is always self-awareness. There are many people who have no self-awareness. Before this work, I was not self-aware, right? And so what I mean by that is that who I thought I was just what other people told me. And so I would just listen to that. And my life was just a culmination of other people's ideas and following other people's pathways. And like, I didn't know who Kathleen was and who she believed how she got here. And like, I didn't realize what I was, a spiritual being having a human experience. I thought I was a human. So like I became self-aware, which means I went inside and I got to know myself. And I started to understand who I am and what I believe to be true and what is real and what is honest and what the truth of who I am truly is. So that self-awareness is the biggest thing. And one example I'll say too is like, to become an observer of your thoughts was one of the first things that I did. We have thoughts, automatic thoughts that are going all the time, but I wasn't really aware of them. I wasn't observing them. I wasn't examining them. I wasn't looking into them. So I started writing them down. I started like noticing what I was thinking about me in different parts of my life. And through that self-awareness, I then went, oh, well, that's limited. Oh, well, is that really true and real? And like, whose thoughts are those? And like, where did that come from? And when I started to do that, I started to realize, okay, like, if I want to love myself and think I'm incredible and think I'm amazing, then I can't believe this belief. I can't believe this belief. I can't believe this one. And I have to start removing them. And then I even went a step further and asked myself, I have 2 beautiful daughters. Would I think the things that I'm thinking right now about myself, would I say them to them? And that just gave me this dichotomy of like, no, like I would never, like looking in front of the mirror and be like, oh, you're disgusting. Like I used to look in that mirror and go, you are disgusting. And I thought, would I ever say that to my daughters? Absolutely not. Yeah. And that was when I had that real awareness of, wow, I'm my own worst enemy right now.
Yeah, we truly are. I mean, we say the worst things to ourselves. So we have to, that self-awareness is key. And like you said, there's so many people walking around that don't even realize like it's just a pattern that they've been running for so long that's embedded into their system. So awareness is key, and doing the self-discovery and seeing what's really like, what are those stories and how could we dismantle them?
Yep.
So one of my favorite sayings is by Dr. Wayne Dyer, and you say something similar, but Dr. Wayne Dyer says, we don't attract what we want. Manifesting is an awareness and understanding we attract what we are. And you state something similar, you manifest what you believe you are. And that is what's so key for people to understand. Manifestation is like People think it's a process, like it's a 5-step process to manifest. But really, it comes down to, are you in a vibrational match with what you desire? So can we unpack that? What does that really mean? What does that look like? Where do we begin?
Yeah. Yeah. And, I get people reach out to me and they say, what would be the first 3 steps that you would do to manifest whatever you want? And I'm like, okay, I define my manifestation techniques or my philosophy as spirituality meets personal growth and development. So, what I mean by that is manifestation is of God. And so it is a higher spiritual experience. And when you allow yourself to connect to the spiritual essence within, whether that's God, source, universe, infinite intelligence, creator, soul, whatever language you want, the belief that there is more to just my simple human experience has changed everything for me. So I'm not alone. I'm not a human being manifesting with my bare hands. I'm not building with my bare hands. I'm actually co-creating with the source and the all of everything. And I'm using that all of everything source energy to work with me. So Wayne Dyer, he talks about the power of intention. And, intention is guiding and directing that source energy through your thoughts, right? So when I think of what I would love and I think about it with focused attention and with feeling, I'm actually guiding and directing source energy towards it to say, hey, we're going here. This is what we're creating. That's the co-creation. So you're not just creating it with your hands. You're using the source and the all of everything. So that's my one part of my manifestation philosophy. The other part's the personal growth and development. So we can't just sit down and write something 55 times and remain the same person and manifest a completely different life. So if you want to manifest a one-time lump sum of $1,000, I can give you a step-by-step task to sit down and do it and to call that $1,000 in one time. But I think what we all want is we want to learn how to master the art of conscious and intentional manifestation so we can change our whole human experience, so we can elevate it. More money, better relationships, better business, better health, more love. Maybe we want more babies, like whatever it is that you want. I want you to have this like complete elevation of your life, so that your outside world actually reflects more of the inner world. So that's where the personal growth comes. So this is where the identity work comes in. This is reprogramming of the subconscious mind. This is believing in the power of who you are and then taking different action, different habits from there. So I like to say we manifest who we think we are, because I want to be super clear that it's simply just a belief. It's simply just a thought. It's not necessarily true. And you can reprogram any idea into the subconscious mind just like this. It doesn't even have to take you a long time. It can be really simple and it can be really easy. And so by allowing yourself to become an empowered version of yourself, you will manifest from that empowered state instead of from that limited state. Did I answer the question?
Yes. What I was going to say, for example, because this is what I was thinking about. If somebody is really in, if you want to, I don't even want to say a limited space, but let's say somebody is in a situation where they're strapped with money, they barely can make rent, they're tight and they're working their job, making the money that they make through their job. And they, of course, want abundant wealth, money coming in to be able to afford a great life for their family. How does somebody come to believe that to be a possibility or a truth? And instead of looking at the lack of what they have, the possibility of what is to come, like how can somebody move from that space?
Yes, so good. So what you're actually talking about is the way of describing your observed world and the potentiality of the new world that you're going to create in your mind. So these are two different lenses that we actually look at life through. We have our human mind, or the human lens, or the observed world lens. So this is seeing with our 5 senses. And then we have our 4th dimensional lens, or the spiritual lens, or the imagination lens. And this is where creation begins. So what most people are doing is they're just in the one human lens. So they're observing the world. They're having a response to the observed world. So I'm seeing my bank account on empty.
Yeah.
And then they see the bank account on empty, and then they have a reaction. They have a judgment. Because my bank account is empty, I'm worried, I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed, I believe I'm a failure. So then an identity comes from the observation of a empty bank account. And then so then what do we manifest from that identity of I'm a failure, I'm wrong, I've screwed up? You'll manifest no money in your bank account. Because magnetic wise, if we think about if you think you are a failure, the rest of the world is going to believe you. It's just going to say, yes, she's a failure. And then you're going to behave like a failure would behave, which is probably procrastination, not getting the job done, showing up late to your work, not setting goals, not trying to do anything different in your life. And so then you are literally manifesting the experience of what you've observed. So what I teach people to do in that situation is, let's move out of the observed world. It is what it is. Remove judgment. Take away the feeling of guilt, shame, the feeling that you're a failure, yada, 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 and go to a neutralized observation of that world. Okay, so this is what I'm seeing right now. This is what I've manifested up till now. I've manifested this life. Compassion, grace, self-love, but what would I love? So now when we move over to the what would I love state, we now move over to the imaginative lens, the fourth dimensional lens, and now we move into true creation. So instead of an empty bank account, I want a full one. And so when I have a full bank account, what's my identity? An overflowing bank account. Well, I would love myself. I'd be proud of myself. I'd be accomplished. I'd feel free. I wouldn't be worrying. I would actually have a lot of peace in my mind. I would have this calmness. I would love life. I would be grateful for everything that I have. So now what did we just do? We saw the two different identities right there. One is reactive and one is creative. Because you're either reacting to life or you're creating a new life. You can't be in both of them. So I move people over to the creation mode and say, well, what would I love to experience and who do I need to be to do that? And so my goal every day now is to set myself goals, to believe in myself, to believe that I'm a failure, to sound myself love every day, to take new action, to be proud of myself, to feel like I'm accomplished, to move into that really, really empowered place. And then guess what happens? I start taking different action.
Yeah.
So for me, I was making a certain amount of money as a registered nurse and I wanted to, are those your dogs?
Sorry, the gardener's outside. The later in the day, the gardeners come. So sorry, anyone, if you hear that.
They're probably just beautiful dogs out there. But for me as a registered nurse, if I remained in the identity that I was in, I would have never quit that job and opened myself up to becoming an entrepreneur and building a business where I make $1 million in a week. That never would have occurred. I had to move to creation. I had to move to the imagination and ask, what would I love? And I had to allow myself to vibrationally be a woman that I wasn't yet in the observed world. So I convinced myself, and Erica, this is one of the most important words that I ever use in manifestation, convince. Like I convinced myself in here that I am powerful, that I am confident, that I love myself, that I can have, be, and do anything that I want. I convinced myself I take bold action and I take risks and all of this. So when it came down to quitting my nursing career, launching my business, I was like, yes, of course I'm going to do that. Because I had changed the patterning and the programming and the vibration. So when I launched my coaching business from the identity of, well, I'm a millionaire now. The million wasn't there when I said that. When I created that idea, I vibrationally matched the idea of being a millionaire, and then the millions came. So for that person that has no money in their bank account right now, I want you to move into that like dreamland, that creative space, the imaginative lens, and say, well, what would I love? And in order for me to allow myself to be open to receive more money, I need to think about what it would be like to have a wealth consciousness. And I should think about what an empowered identity would look like. And then what type of goals would I set? And then what action would I take in order to live that new experience? Because if we just keep doing the same things, we're going to keep with the bank account empty.
Yeah. Oh, so valuable, everything you just laid out. And of course, that could be applied to anything. And so it's really just, like you said, just using the power of your mind to just like, okay, I have this. So you have to think like, what would that person that is successful, that has $1 million, what would what would I be doing today? I would be waking up early. I would be, drinking my, I don't know, it would be certain habits that you would put in place to be that type of person that has a successful company or business or tons of money in your bank account, whatever it may be that you desire. I love what you just explained. So, so valuable.
And it's also,
And
say one other thing too, Erica.
yeah,
It's the habits and the things that you do every day, but it's also the vibration you're in and what you're magnetizing to you. So not a lot of people spend a lot of time on their state of being every day. And it is one of the most important things for me. So I want to make sure in the morning that I am vibrationally, energetically feeling my absolute best, my most empowered. I don't want to feel disempowered, weak. I don't want to feel like I'm lacking confidence or I've screwed up in some way. I want to make sure that I'm vibrating, not just high. People say like high vibes, like let's be high vibe. It's not about mood. It's about identity. I want to feel my power every single day because we attract. So some people go through the motion and they go to the gym and they take their supplements and they set their goals and they do the work, but they feel sad or disempowered or weak or they lack confidence. The most important thing is not what you do, but the way you feel while you're doing it. Your vibration
absolutely.
is the most important. Yeah.
I love that. So good. Okay. So there's a vast difference between needing and wanting.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so how do we make the shift from our energy as we're talking about energy vibration? I want you, but I don't need you energy.
I love that. That's actually a very, very, very insightful tool in the dating world. You know, when you're out and
Right.
you're dating again, you never want to meet the person.
I
It's I
learned that
want
lesson.
to meet you.
I
Yes,
learned that one.
but it works with all things. It works because energetically, when you need something, you're attached to it. And when you are attached to something, you're gripping it tightly. You're holding on to it for dear life. And when you're holding on to something for dear life and you need it so much, you grip it too tightly. And then what happens when we grip too tightly? It goes away. It leaves us. It doesn't stay. And you'll slip through your fingers. It'll be gone and you'll literally suffocate it. So what we want to do, and I love this language, is we want to touch it lightly. So to touch something lightly, it's that softness, it's that flow state, it's that go with the flow, the I want you, I don't need you energy. It is light. It's not a gripping, right? The other language I really like to use too is to make sure that what you want is a preference, not a requirement. So when something is a requirement, you need it. You need it to be worthy. You need it to be good enough. You need it to be liked. You need it to be happy. And so when you need something to be happy, you're not a vibrational match to the thing that you need. Because when you have it, you're not in the vibration of needing it. Remember, we want to be the energetic match. So to want something then is like, oh, I would love that. That would be fun. That would be great. But if I never get it, I'm still amazing. I'm still incredible. Life is still good and I'm still happy. Like that's the energy that we want to be in. So I will often ask people, especially some of my one-on-one coaching clients, I will say, okay, so this thing that you're desiring, this manifestation that you want to call in, if it never came to you and you never got it, how would you do? And when they say, oh, no, I have to have this, I would
Right.
not make it. I'm like, okay, we got to detach. You're too attached. I truly want you to be in this place of, well, listen, Kathleen, I know it's already done, and I know that I am that version of me, but if it were to never occur, life would still be good. And I'm like, okay, good. There we go. We're in the lightness now. We're not in the heaviness. So it's not saying you don't want something. It's not letting go of the manifestation. It's not letting go of the goals, the desires. I want you to desire. I want you to want more for your life. Absolutely. I want you to fall in love with the next possibility of what's going to come into your life. But I just don't want you gripping it so tightly because what is important and what we put on a pedestal, we grip too tight and it'll make its way out. Yeah.
So valuable. So good. So talking about personal development a little bit, I believe one of the biggest things that block us or one of our barriers is the lack of self-belief and trusting ourselves. And so how can we cultivate the belief and trust if we don't authentically yet feel it about ourselves?
Yeah. Honestly, I will say the higher spiritual perspective allowed me to build a level of self-trust that transcends the human experience. Because if I believe that I am Kathleen the human in a physical 3D body and I want to trust myself and trust my decisions, it feels like a lot of pressure and it feels heavy, and I get into my like intellectual mind and try to rationalize things. So when I stepped out of that and I went, okay, wait a minute. What's the truth of who I am? The truth of who I am is a soul having a human experience. The truth of who I am is the soul's perspective, is awareness. I am what is aware of my body. I am what is aware of my thoughts. I am what is aware of the observed world. Uh, but I am not simply the human within. So if I am the source itself then, and the awareness is the creator of all, then that means that every thought, every idea, every intuitive hit, every little bit of understanding and knowledge comes from a higher, more significant place. Then I'm not simply trusting an idea in my mind, but I'm actually trusting what's coming from source energy itself. So now, like, my entire life and my entire business is an intuitive force.
Hmm.
I truly do believe that. So what that means is like everything that I do in my life and everything I do in my business is direction from source. It's direction from God. So yes, it's one thing to trust God and it's one thing to trust yourself. But what I'm talking about is an interconnected relationship between the source of it all, the soul's perspective, and the human and the intellectual mind to say, my human is trusting my soul today, and we're working together and collaboratively to make decisions that match and coincide with one another. So when I get a nudge, I act upon it. And I truly believe that I'm doing God's work. And so any direction that I get, the faster that I can implement it, the more successful that it really is. So trusting yourself is one thing, but like when you believe your intuition is actually even more than what you think it is,
Right.
you can't disregard it. I can't anymore.
So beautiful. I love that personally. I think that could really open somebody up today hearing that message alone. I think because I think, we are the hardest obviously on ourselves. We're the most critical. And so we could go down the rabbit hole of like not trusting or feeling like we haven't respected ourselves or we haven't made the right decision. We made all these mistakes. But if we really feel this connection with something bigger than us that are playing a part in our own lives as well, I think then we could rely that we're being guided. Like if we
Yes.
really connect to that, at least that's my belief as well. So
Yeah, and then
beautiful.
we don't feel so alone, and we don't feel
Yeah.
so much pressure. And we don't make it so much like we carry so much on our shoulders, you know?
Yes,
And
exactly.
it's softness. Like I have a couple sayings too that I really love. Like, who cares? I will say that all the time. When things are feeling like I'm carrying too much, I'm just like, Kathleen, who cares? Or I'll say things like, it's not that serious. Because there's things that we make so serious. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, it's really not that serious. It's not a big deal. Who cares? And then sometimes it's like, okay, it's time to get over it. And it's just little things that I say to myself to make me realize that reality isn't true and real. It's just a story that we're making up about reality. And like in 5 minutes, this isn't going to be what I believe, or it's not going to matter. So like, let it go.
Mm.
And that has served me really, really well. So if anybody hears that, maybe say that today too. Who cares? It's not that serious.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move into money a bit
Mm.
because I want to make sure to highlight for those that really want to bring more wealth into their life. And so I think a lot of people find that to get success, it has to be hard.
Mm.
And I really would love if you could dismantle that right now.
Yeah, I used to believe that. Absolutely. I used to think I'm going to have to work more hours, spend more time, and get stressed and overwhelmed in order to make a lot of money. And even now, Erica, people say to me all the time, oh my gosh, you built a $40 million business. You must be exhausted. You must be busy. Like, you must be working so hard. Like, you must be stressed out to the max. I don't want that. And they'll say like, oh, no, I don't want to be a millionaire. That's way too much work. And I'm like, oh, if you only knew. Um, in understanding that it's not about time, it's not about hard work, it's not about certain action. It's actually about a state of being. It's actually about doing things in a certain way, and it's about being a certain version of you. And so I now work probably half as much hours as I did as a registered nurse. Like, I mean, I used to do like 10, 12-hour shifts. So I am not working 10 and 12-hour days, and yet I'm making 20,000 times more money. So I am merely an example that that is not truth. And the truth is you can make as much money as you absolutely want by allowing yourself to become an elevated version of yourself with a different magnet who takes different action. And so your results will be totally different. So for me now, I chose a job that made me an hourly wage, right? If you continue to choose a job that makes you an hourly wage, you will never make money while you're sleeping.
Right.
It's not possible unless you're sleeping on the shift as a nurse. I did do that a couple of times, but that's not what I mean. I mean, you're on vacation and you're still making revenue. You're every night while you're sleeping, bringing money in. You don't even have to work today and you made $100,000. That is the experience for a lot of people. There is a lot of millionaires, billionaires in this world that, yes, they still run a business. They still do things every day to move their business forward. They're still in their masculine, but they're also spending time with their families. They also have time and financial freedom. And that did not come after they realized that they had to do things in a different way, in a certain way for the success to come. And so I'm working considerably less and making considerably more because I'm now using spiritual awareness and understanding. So I'm not alone. I'm co-creating. I'm using my intellectual mind, understanding that what's programmed in my intellectual mind is manifesting outward. And then I am taking different actions. So I am very bold. I am very daring, and I will take risks and I make decisions quickly. That's not how I was before, but it's how I am now. And so that creates a whole new experience for you in life. So that's a myth, and I would not believe that anymore. So I do not believe I need to work hard to make more.
Love it. Okay. So let's go big. So billionaire mindset, what are some of the habits, mindset shifts that a billionaire has?
I love this. Okay. One of my favorite laws is the law of assumption. So if you've studied Neville Goddard at all, he's one of my favorite authors when it comes to manifestation and the way in which he teaches it. And the law of assumption says whatever you assume to be true will be your truth. So what that means is the expectations that are patterned and programmed into the mind, you will literally manifest that outcome because you expect it. So if you wake up in the morning and you say to yourself, oh, I just had the worst sleep of my life, you will experience a very exhausted day. But if you wake up in the morning and you say to yourself, oh, that was the best sleep I ever had in my life, you will experience a beautiful, wonderful, well-rested experience that next day. And it does not matter how good or bad your sleep actually was, but what your mind thinks, what it decides. So it's the same thing with wealth. It's the same thing with business success. It's the same thing with health. What you expect, you will literally act out and experience. So I started planting the seed of expectation in my mind. First, I did it with millionaire, then I did it with billionaire. So if I'm a millionaire and I am expecting that to be my reality, I assume that it's true. What would I do? What would I think? How would I show up? What decisions would I make? So I am making decisions from that place, that end result, that experience of the millions, and then now the billions. So I already identify myself as a multi-millionaire, and so I'm not going to go and start thinking from multi-millionaire ideas. I'm going to create assumptions and expectations from the billions. So now I look at people that have billion-dollar experiences. So Hailey Bieber, for example, right? Like she just sold Rhode for, I think, $800 million. And then she gets another 200 in a couple of years or something. So almost $1 billion she sold her skincare line from. That $1 billion deal that just happened right now, she created that when she created the skincare line. She made a decision to open up herself to starting her own company, creating a skincare line, acting upon that idea, launching it. All the risks that it would have taken to do all of that created the $1 billion experience that she's now having today. So she was thinking from there when she created it already, or she wouldn't have created it. So what can you do today to expect that for yourself? And then what kind of decisions would you make? How would you move through this world? What kind of shoes would you wear today? So for me, I'm always like, I'm putting my $1 billion shoes on today. I just did, Erica, I'll give you an example. I just did a photo shoot here in this Bel Air home. So I'm thinking from the billionaire mindset. What type of house would I do a photo shoot in? What would it look like? So now I'm in Bel Air, California, the best view I've ever seen. I've never seen a view like this before in my life. Huge pool, hot tub. It's like 4 or 5 bedroom house on the top of a mountain, Lamborghini in the driveway. And I'm taking photos here in this house in the vibration and the energy of my $1 billion self. So I'm not making decisions to, find a house that costs the less amount of money and find a studio that's the cheapest and hire the cheapest makeup artist. And like, I flew my hair girl here, my photographer here, my stylist here from different parts of the world, and we're all here together. And so, you have to do things a little bit differently. You have to take bolder, more empowered action, and you have to believe in yourself. I pitch deals now to people that I never thought past version of me would ever pitch deals to, because I'm thinking from a new idea. So I hope that answers it. But
yeah, I mean, it did very, very much. And it's really, it's stepping in. It's a big thing, I think, is taking risks because you believe in yourself of the possibility. And I think
it's not
so
even
many
a risk. Yeah, I don't even think of it as a risk because I believe in myself so much. So there's no risk when you believe, right? So I say like bold, daring, risky action because other people would be like, wow, she's nuts. But to me, it's like, of course I'm going to do that. It's a different energy.
Right. So I think one of the things that people struggle the most with is self-doubt. Like, I think everybody has it. Everybody experiences it. I'm sure there's a time in your life you've experienced it.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you're, and so moving from that self-doubt to self-belief, what is your advice? Like going back to your former self in the energy or the mindset you had before to now being where you're at today. Obviously you've proven success. So you do have something to show you that, okay, I'm able to make this happen. Some people aren't there yet. So if you could talk to the people that are not quite there that maybe want to start a coaching business or start something new and build a business, how do you really just break through those doubts?
Yeah. I love this so much because I used to believe that I didn't know what was going to happen next with life, right? So I'm going to make a decision to either do A or B. And I don't know which one's going to work out. I don't know if A is going to work and I don't know if B is going to work. And so we would weigh out which door do we go through? Right. Which one do we do? We don't know which outcome's going to work. What I've now realized is whichever outcome I choose confidently, it will work. Whichever one I believe in and I choose is the outcome. So now I actually know I'm creating life instead of wondering what's going to happen next. 2 totally different ways of looking at the world. Belief precedes manifestation. Belief comes first. So whatever I do in faith, whatever I do in trust, whatever I do in the assumption that it's already done, it always works out. It always happens. So that's how we create. So now it's not about how do I remove doubt from my life? Now it's, okay, how can I put faith, trust, confidence towards an idea and create from that idea? And then all I have to do is manage the doubt that might come after. So when I created KCB, I created this identity. Kathleen Cameron, I added a B for billionaire. I was like, okay. And it's just a little name that I gave it so that I can identify it as a new idea. I don't currently believe I'm a billionaire, and I want to believe I am. So let's create this identity of KCB. We'll add a B to it. Okay, now that I've created this identity, who is she? How does she think? How does she feel? What is her vibration like? What's the action that she takes every day? And I started like really formulating this idea of her. Okay, well, she's pretty confident. She's pretty powerful. She moves towards what she wants. She doesn't move slowly. She moves in urgency. She takes action, all these things. Okay. So then I'm going to be her now. I'm going to wake up in the morning. I'm going to be her. So then I have to pay attention to the moments that my mind tries to tell me I'm not. So when the doubt pops up and says, oh, are you for real, girl? Like, do you really think that you're going to be able to do this? Like, you really think you're a billionaire? I then go, yes, I am. Kathleen, that's it. Like, we're moving on. It's similar to like being in the gym. When I work out with my trainer, my dear friend Eric, I've been training with him for 3 years. He's amazing. When I train with him in the gym, he tells me to do something. My mind might say, I can't do that. But what do I say? Eric, I can do anything you tell me to do. So the mind says, oh God, you can't do that, or that's going to hurt. And I redirect myself. No, I can do anything you tell me to do. It's the exact same thing with the doubts, managing doubt. So you have to become aware and go, oh, I'm doubting myself right now. And no, we are not doing that today. Absolutely not. We are moving in confidence and urgency today. We do not doubt ourselves. And so the more I fill my mind with positive thoughts, the more I fill my mind with positive direction, the more I say that I'm worthy, powerful, dynamic, and bold and daring, there's no room for the doubts to come back. And so now it's not a common practice for me to doubt, because it's a common practice for me to believe. So the more that you replace that self-belief, that self-trust, that self-love, the other stuff will start to go away. And so now when you've made the decision to go through door A, don't keep coming back out and checking on door B. Make the decision to go through A, fully go through that door, make the decision, move forward with it. And then all you have to do is just keep redirecting yourself that A was the right decision. Every decision I make is the right decision. And here we go. We're doing it. And it will create, as long as you remain in that faith state.
So powerful.
Every time.
Love it. Okay. What do you feel is the inherent truth you want everybody to know?
The inherent truth that I want everybody to know. You literally can have everything you want by merely believing it's already done. Like, I have seen the most incredible magic happen by simply allowing myself to want something and then moving towards it like I already have it. And so easy and so effortless. It's actually kind of comical sometimes how quickly things will come when I'm not resisting it, I'm not fighting it, and I'm just letting it come. So I would say that that's a truth for me. And it's a truth for everyone. You'll have everything you ever wanted.
Love it.
Yeah, let it be true.
I think one of the things is we block even the ability to receive things. I keep on using that word block, but I think a lot of people are not open to receive.
Yeah, I think receivership is a state of being that we are not taught to be in. Conditioning and patterning in the subconscious mind. When I think about schools and I think about parents and social media, and I think about the news, we are taught fear-based thinking. And to be running a fear-based pattern and program in the subconscious mind creates limitation. It creates blocks, so to speak. But we create from fear. The things that we fear the most, we will experience. So my goal is to get people to move out of fear and into love. And so the receivership state is the loving state. The receivership state is the flow state. The receivership state is the letting, the being. Whereas everybody's in the hustle and the grinding and the fear and the avoiding and the protecting. We actually take action from fear. We want to prevent things from happening. And so we make them happen. Like, think about if you told me you were going to go take a flight right now, what would I want to say to you? Oh, have a safe flight. Why do we even say that?
Yeah.
Every flight I take is a safe flight. When we say drive safe, of course, I'm driving in the assumption that every drive I make is a safe drive. We're not afraid. But when we move in fear, we constrict, we restrict. So we want our hose to be wide open. Let's not turn it off. It's the fear, the doubt, the worry, the judgment that closes us off. So when we allow ourselves to open ourselves up to more love, more vulnerability, more peace, more joy, more passion, more acceptance, unconditional love, to love without condition. That means the world, other people, and yourself. So am I going to love myself if I don't make $1 million this year? Yes, I am. Am I going to love myself if I gain 20 pounds this year? Yes, I am. Right. And so, a lot of these things that we call blocks and the resistance are just not the truth. The truth is we're not meant to be poor. We are not meant to hate ourselves. We are not meant to live in lack and limitation. We are meant to have it all. And so you're just returning home to the real experience and the truth of who you are, which is the all of everything, which is the loving perspective and the God energy.
Oh, so good. Kathleen, this has been such a great conversation. I could go so much deeper, but we've gone an hour. And again, I could go on, but I want to really honor your time. But I want people to find out more about everything you teach, because you do have an academy where you teach this all. If you could kind of give us a little taste of what that looks like. And of course, it will be in the show notes as well.
Yeah, so beautiful. I have a coaching academy, which is retreats, live events, courses, and programs. A lot of it is for higher level executives, business owners, CEOs. And then I have House of Manifestation, which is a community-based program for people all over the world. We're in 89 countries, where you can learn the art of manifestation amongst a community of other people that are doing it together. So you can find me on Instagram or on YouTube. And I also have a podcast called The Manifested Podcast with Kathleen Cameron as well, which has a lot of very, very valuable content and now some interviews as well.
Yeah, I highly recommend you check out her YouTube, because I was in awe. I really wanted to listen to all of it. So, and luckily, when you click on videos, you could see it in order. So you could kind of like, if you want to listen to them all, at least you could follow it down, right? So there was so much wealth of information on there. So I'm going to, of course, plug everything in the show notes. So thank you so much for your time. This has been such an honor, and I so appreciate you.
Oh, my absolute pleasure. And thanks for having me. So much gratitude.